Oh, I agree with you, Jenny. That snow is so pretty outside. I'm loving actually the icicles growing all over my house. I'm kind of a fan of those, as long as I don't have to go out there and snow and shovel that snow just yet. 8 inches of snow in Donner Springs. Yikes. I might have to build a snow person out there after I shovel to get the pile out of the way. Keep on saying hello. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'm the Reverend Shelley Thompson. My pronouns are she and her. And I'm the interim minister here at UUFNN, both our virtual home and at our beautiful sanctuary. Welcome to our online service today. We are honoring International Women's Day and the theme of inspire inclusion. Inspire inclusion. I like that. I think it's very fitting. And it's not just for women, right? It's for everyone. My dear ones, now more than ever is a time for the healing power of community, for the soul-saving connections and comforts of being a beloved community together. Now's the time to be present with one another. The turmoil, the upheaval, the violence in the world, illness and grief, we know all of those things will always be out there. But the way that we know to move forward in hope and in love is together as a congregation in covenant with one another. People who care about each other, who openly and with great vulnerability share our joys and sorrows. People who come alongside one another in times of need without saying a word. This is a we're together no matter what kind of a place. It's a no matter what you're facing kind of belonging. This kind of community makes it possible for us to do all of the hard things and all of the joyful things that no one of us can do alone, and that not one of us should have to do alone. You are most welcome here. I'm going to light my own chalice, and I hope you have a chalice or a candle at home that you can light too, or a virtual chalice on your phone. There we go. And I share with you the words of Reverend Deborah Falk. A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of liberal faith, a faith built on the foundation of freedom, reason, and tolerance, a faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice, a faith that visions a world flourishing with equality for all her people, a faith that demands the living out of goodness, a faith that requires thoughtfulness, a faith of wholeness. This tiny flame is a symbol of the spark of all of this within each of us. Amen. Now, please enjoy this rendition of our hymn, If Every Woman in the World, by the incomparable Glenn Thomas Rideout.
Walking in someone else's shoes, seeing it from a different view.
If every woman in the world, if every man in the world, if every leader in the world, if every nation set a true course for freedom, there would be no more war. If every woman in the world had her mind set on freedom, every woman dreamed a sweet dream of peace. If every woman of every nation, young and old, each generation, held her hands out in the name of love, there would be no more. If every man in the world had his mind set on freedom, every brother stood with brother as a witness for peace. Every man, every nation, young and old, each generation held his hands out in the name of love, there would be no more. Sing with me. If every leader in the world shared a vision of freedom, if every leader in the world shared a sweet dream of peace, if every leader of every nation worked for justice and liberation, holding hands out in the name of love, there would be no more. If every nation in the world set a true course for freedom, each nation with its children in a culture of peace. If all our sons or our daughters or our kindred reached for friendship across the waters and refused to the enemies, there would be no more. If we refused to the enemies, there would be
Beautiful. And now we get an exciting stewardship update and testimony.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Oakley. I'm a co-chair of the stewardship campaign. My pronouns are she and her. What a beautiful, beautiful music. I love that. And I just wanted to give you a brief update before Dr. Laura talks to us and about her view of stewardship. But I want to give you an update as to how we are doing, which I'm excited to tell you that as of now, we are 2/3 of our way, yahoo, $205,000, which indicates that we have over 70 folks who have pledged. Now we need to wrap it up in the next few weeks because it's important in two ways. It's important, I feel it's important for me individually to pledge. And as I look out today and think how many people in our community might be at home alone, might need some food, might need some transportation. And I know that if anybody put that into the chat you would be heard and our community would step up and do whatever you need. And that's the main reason for me to be part of this community and pledge, not only to learn and grow spiritually, but also it's really important because we have to make a budget, which is the other side of the story here. We have to finalize our pledge so that our finance people can help us determine what we can do next year, where we're going, how we're doing. We have lots of interesting things that the transition team has uncovered from folks about hopes and dreams, what we can do to improve our place, what we can do to improve our community. And of course, we need your pledge to create a budget to do that. So please do so. If you haven't, we will answer any questions about it. Will help you do it online or send in a form. You can send an email to stewardship@UUFNN or ask any one of us for help. We'd be happy to help you. And again, thank you all so much for already doing this. I mean, we're way on the way and we're so happy. Feel very, very excited about where we are as I sit here today and listen to this beautiful music and see all you beautiful faces. So thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Laura Knight. My pronouns are she and her. And well, I'd been hoping that I'd be able to sing for you in person this morning and give this testimonial, but as Robert Burns famously said in his poem To a Mouse, the best laid schemes of mice and men gang after glee. And if you find the Scots dialect unintelligible, basically that means the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. But we are here nonetheless, Hearty Souls pivoting gracefully to this online platform. The song I was going to share with you, and hopefully we'll be able to maybe next Sunday in person, is When I'm Gone by Phil Oakes. Here's just a little bit of it because some of my comments are based on it, so you need to hear just a little. There's no place in this world where I'll belong when I'm gone, and I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone, and you won't hear me singing on this song when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. The gist of the song is that life is fleeting. I won't be able to do anything, belong anywhere when I'm gone. And maybe especially because of what I do for a living as a forensic pathologist, determining cause and manner of death as the chief medical examiner and coroner, I feel this truly. Life truly is long, but it also is really in another sense short. It's urgent. We only have so much time, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. While I'm here. Why am I here? I'm here because this place, UUFNN, delighted me when I first came. A UU since my late 20s and early 30s through much exploration and purposeful abandoning of the religion of my childhood with prejudice. I felt right at home as soon as I set foot here, really. And that sense of belonging has grown. I saw here a light and a joy and a community. I heard words both of comfort and inspiration, but also of challenge. This is a place I can feel good about bringing my children, where there is no dogma or indoctrination or fear. As Dave Bianchi read for us a few weeks ago at the stewardship kickoff service, the words of Reverend John Wolfe, you want to support a UU church because it's a place where children can come without being saddled with guilt or terrified of some celestial peeping Tom, where they can learn that religion is for joy, comfort, gratitude, and love, a place where for the religious displaced persons of our time, the unwanted free thinkers, hi, that's me, and those who insist against orthodoxy, that they must work out their own beliefs. I'm going to tell you, while Dave was reading that a few weeks ago, I literally cackled at that celestial peeping Tom when he read it out, because it was just so apt. And I was not the only one who was laughing at that. I was not the only one who said, yes, that's funny and it's right. But just to be able to hear all of those words ring so clear from this free pulpit is a joy to me. To have it be true and real is what I might call a blessing, even if that word weren't somewhat loaded with religious connotation. But this is why my family and I support UUFNN year after year with a pledge. I have joined this UU Church to support it, to make sure it endures, and to make sure the principles that it stands for also endure. All of our pledges help to ensure that this may be so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura. We have a lot of people voting for you to sing more often over here. That was beautiful. You're welcome to sing anytime. And yes, I do hope that the weather will cooperate and we'll have you performing live in person next Sunday. That was a beautiful testimony. Thank you. And now is the time in our service when we do share our joys and sorrows, the concerns, the worries, the things that are in our hearts that are just too important not to share with the people we love and the people we know that love us and will support us no matter what, who will celebrate with us and be joyful when we're joyful, and who will hold us in loving comfort when we're sad or in need. And I want to share with you, as you go ahead and write in the chat everything that's on your hearts, a beautiful poem by my friend, Reverend Julian Jamaica. It's called Now I Love You, Now I Witness. I know sometimes you get cranky, and sometimes your tea gets cold before you can drink it. Sometimes the news is too much. The resistance seems too little. That's real. But we're here, imperfect and together and reaching. You can hold my hand if you want. I washed it with soap. It's okay. In this kind of time, now is better than later. Now, I love you. Now, I'm sorry it hurts. Now, I witness your struggle and mine. Sometimes one answer is to be a yes in the face of every no. I am a yes for you. Now, and again later, if you need me. Please continue sharing in the chat while we listen to Leah Morris singing Shelter Me.
Sweet Spirit of light and love, sweet Spirit of light and love, sweet Spirit of light and love, spread your wings and shelter me. Spirit of sweet Spirit of light and love, sweet Spirit of light and love, sweet Spirit of light and love, spread your wings and shelter me. Spirit of sweet Spirit of light and love, sweet Spirit of light and love, sweet Spirit of light and love, spread your wings and shelter me.
Inspire inclusion is this year's International Women's Day theme. How do we do that? How do we inspire inclusion? Well, our theme of the month here at UUFNN is vulnerability. And as it turns out, these two themes have an awful lot in common. Brené Brown said, vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. It's the source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity. If we want greater clarity in our purpose or deeper and more meaningful spiritual lives, vulnerability is the path. To be truly vulnerable, it means letting go of our attachment to controlling other people and controlling the outcome of our efforts. Our priority instead becomes the quality of healthy, accountable relationships that we sustain within our community. Relationships that are guaranteed to at least change us for the better. Those experiences of belonging and inclusion and contributing to the greater good are what we're really trying to cultivate in our lives when we join a faith community like this one. And to fulfill that potential, we have to be vulnerable enough to share egalitarian power in the service of collective liberation. Our liberation from the systems of dominator power and control that we've been conditioned to accept as normal, but which are in fact the root cause of most of human suffering and injustice. Gender inequality, racism, oppression of all kinds. If we want those things to diminish, we ourselves have to be the antidote we're looking for. Otherwise, nothing that we do is going to make lasting, systemic change. As Parker Palmer said, it's more important to be in right relationship than it is to be right. Well, that's a lot harder than it sounds, as it turns out, isn't it? As my religious education professor, Dr. Mark Hicks, is fond of saying, the method is the message. And for Unitarian Universalists, covenant and right relationships are the method, the center of our faith, our ecclesiology, our theory of church. Unitarian Universalism is about relationship, relationship, relationship. And vulnerability is a defining characteristic of this process relational model, this method of creating authentic relationships of mutuality and equity. One of the consequences of this method, the vulnerability to being open to connection relationship, is that we often find ourselves lamenting, grieving all of the brokenness, the disconnection, the injustice and oppression that human beings create and inflict on one another, and sometimes even inside Unitarian Universalist congregations like this one. All of the ways in which relationships are broken in favor of power and control or other individual gains. When that happens, it breaks our hearts. We know this. We talk about it a lot. Unitarian Universalists have been talking a lot about anti-racism, anti-oppression, and multiculturalism more and more, because those are the path of shared power with. We recognize the depths of our own complicity within systems of power and control over others. Conformity is a method of power and control that rejects the vulnerability necessary for authentic relationships and true inclusion. In response to the grief or discomfort of being genuinely present with one another, we often find ourselves wishing for more control, just as our society has taught us to do. And pessimism, cynicism, even despair are textbook coping strategies for controlling and tamping down vulnerability. So how then, while remaining committed to the work of being vulnerable and connected, how are we meant to maintain our sense of hope, our resilience against the grief, against the never-ending challenges that come with being human? That question is one of the reasons why humans invented religion in the first place. And that's actually good news for us, because it means that a lot of smart people have spent a lot of time thinking about this. And today I want to share with you two strategies that make this really hard work of being vulnerable and staying connected in a pluralistic society, not only possible, but fulfilling and transformative. The first strategy is the counterintuitive practice of embracing uncertainty. Today, our strategy is inspired by an essay entitled The Optimism of Uncertainty by historian, activist, and restorative justice guru Howard Zinn. The essay is found in one of my very favorite anthologies called The Impossible Will Take a Little While. Zinn told us we need to cultivate an underlying belief, a rock-solid belief that positive change is both desirable and possible. It's possible. No matter how improbable positive progress may seem at times, like what's going on in Israel and Gaza that's breaking our hearts. The impossible is taking a really long time over there. It's brutal, it's awful. But humanity can and has and does pleasantly surprise us sometimes. Zinn said, there's a tendency to think that what we see in the present moment will continue. We forget how often we've been astonished by the sudden crumbling of institutions, by extraordinary changes in people's thoughts, by unexpected eruptions of rebellion against tyrannies, by the quick collapse of systems of power that seemed invincible. What leaps out from the history of the past 100 years is its utter unpredictability. It's clear that the struggle for justice should never be abandoned because of the apparent overwhelming power of those who have the guns and the money and who seem invincible in their determination to hold on to it. That apparent power has again and again proved vulnerable to human qualities less measurable than bombs and money. Moral fervor, determination, unity, organization, sacrifice, wit, ingenuity, courage, and yes, patience. No cold calculation of the balance of power need deter people who are persuaded that their cause is just. End quote. Sometimes these shifts are sudden. Some of you remember when the Berlin Wall fell, and it seemed like it was all of a sudden. We didn't think that would ever happen. And we remember when Barack Obama was elected the first Black president of the United States of America. Who thought that was going to happen? Nobody. We didn't believe it until it actually happened. And when the Supreme Court actually established marriage equality, wow, we really thought that was a long shot. And sure enough, it happened. Because of caring, committed people like all of you, not giving up and believing in the possibility. And while sometimes, perhaps most of the time, the impossible will take a lot longer than we want it to. But we still have to embrace the uncertainty and believe in those possibilities. Zinn said, we don't have to engage in grand heroic actions to participate in the process of change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. Even when we don't win, there's fulfillment in the fact that we've been involved with other good people in something worthwhile. We need hope. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It's based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, kindness. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, that gives us energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act in however a small way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents, and to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. My friends, the optimism of uncertainty is a powerful source of hope and resilience. As Zinn said, to make all that optimism possible, we need help. We really can't do it all by ourselves. I know I sure can't. What we can do is firmly root ourselves in beloved community and the interdependent web of all existence. For more inspiration, we turn now to ethicist Dr. Sharon Welch, who told us we need to fundamentally change our primary paradigm of how we see ourselves interacting with the world, from an ethic of control to a feminine ethic of risk, which is the name of her book. It's our second strategy for being hopeful and resilient. A feminine ethic of risk helps us practice embodied interconnectedness, which changes our ways of relating from seeing people as other to understanding our place as members of a pluralistic society where embracing our differences is a necessary condition for positive progress. Again, vulnerability is the path to this kind of inclusion in beloved community. Welch explains, our moral and political imagination is shaped by an ethic of control, a construction of agency, responsibility, and goodness, which assumes that it's possible to guarantee the efficacy of one's actions. Welch claimed that the root of much cynicism and despair in our culture is the result of this construction, the ethic of control. She argued for an alternative construction of responsible action, the ethic of risk. She said this ethic of risk takes us far from the comfortable prayer of Reinhold Niebuhr, God grant me the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Welch said, the drive of moral life is that we can never know the difference between that which we can change and that which we cannot. That's exactly what Howard Zinn said, isn't it? Welch said, our challenge is to move creatively in a very different sort of adventure, one whose prayer is more like this. What improbable task with what unpredictable results shall we undertake today? In trading the ethic of control for an ethic of risk, and in living out this ethos, we can neither undo the past nor control the future, but we can learn from the past and we can live creatively, responsibly, and compassionately in the present, said Welch. And remember what Zinn said, the future is an infinite succession of presents. Welch maintained we cannot numb our pain at the degradation of life without numbing our joy at its abundance. Responsible action means the creation of a matrix in which further actions are possible, the creation of the conditions of possibility for desired changes. Such responsible action is sustained and enabled by participation in an extensive community. The fundamental risk constitutive of this ethic is the decision to care and to act, although there are no guarantees of success. Such action requires immense daring and enables great joy. It is in contrast to the ethos of cynicism that often accompanies a recognition of the depth and persistence of evil. End quote. The ethic of risk and the optimism of uncertainty, both of these strategies require us to stay vulnerable to life by staying present, engaged, and wide awake to everything life is, good and bad and everything in between. We have to stay rooted in beloved community as our matrix of resistance and accountability. That's what a covenant of right relationships is designed to do. We need to be wholehearted about our connections in our community and about our mission to make the world a better place for everyone. Home is where the heart is, and so too, I believe, hope. Hope is where the heart is. Hope shows up in places and among the people that we love. And Welch said, solidarity does not require self-sacrifice, but an enlargement of the self to include community with others. To work with others is not to lose oneself, but first and foremost, it is to find a larger self. Inspiration and inclusion, inspiring inclusion in one another and ourselves, this begins on the inside. It begins with the optimism of uncertainty, and it begins when we are vulnerable enough to seek and to find a larger self. May it be so. May we make it so. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Walking in someone else's shoes, seeing it from a different view, learning to appreciate our differences for the better. So much more than our backgrounds, deeper than a hue or a pronoun. As unique as you are, you yourself are strong. Let's bring the change, put the work in. Let's bring the change, gotta put the work in. Let's bring the change, it's so worth it. We all belong, we all deserve, we all have voices to be heard. It's who we are, who we are, who we are. Yeah, take some courage and a little bit of unknown, mixed with kindness and watch how it goes. It's who we are, it's who we are. I'm trying to get the lens in focus so we can see eye to eye. I know that the grass is greener when we see the other side. Even if courage is borrowed, then there's hope for our tomorrows. And believe we're all worth it, can be the change, put the work in. We all deserve, we all have voices to be heard. It's who we are, who we are, who we are. Yeah, take some courage and a little bit of unknown, mixed with kindness and watch how it goes. It's who we are, it's who we are. Oh, to be the change, we gotta put the work in. Oh, let's be the change, put the work in. You put the work in, you gotta put the work in.
Well, good morning again. That was a beautiful song. You know, this is the time of the service where we offer our bounties to each other to continue the positive and far-reaching outreach to the community and to our fellowship. As that song said, it's who we are. Well, since we're on Zoom, we don't pass the basket around. That would be impossible. But again, modern technology allows us to send by text 73256 and put UUFNN in the message box and hit send. You can also mail a check to the office at 780 Del Monte Lane here in Reno. Or better yet, you can sign up for automatic giving. So there's a couple of ways to do it. Contact Carol at the office and she'll explain the process. Now, one of the many things that I love about our fellowship is that each month, choose a nonprofit to share our plate with. And this month, will be donating to the Reno Food Systems. We partnered with Washoe County Parks and Open Space and are operating a 5-acre vegetable garden. And in 2023, they donated over 6,000 pounds of produce to their support partners and educated 400 people on cooking, gardening, nutrition, regenerative farming, and so much more. So next week, we'll hear from the manager of that farm so we can hear from her live. So let's just take a few minutes to complete the process. Thank you.
Spirit of light, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Flow with the wind, rise in the seas. Move in my hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of light, come to me, come to me.
I will
take-
extinguish our chalice today, again with the words of Reverend Julian Jamaica. What it takes to survive is more than an emergency blanket, a fire starter, and a hatchet. It requires recognizing yourself after someone has tried to blur your divine image. It requires saying your own name over and over, but only for your own benefit and glory. For finding your route to the earth beneath you and sky everywhere. For illuminating opaque horizons when you're not sure if you'll ever recover or ever grow. Outliving intentional harm or evil requires a single ember banked in your wheezing, dizzy heart. And if you find that tiny fire smothered, smug patriarchy shrugging off the work of stained hands and starched cuffs, please, friend, please do not despair. We here share the light of our belonging with and to one another. The work of outliving evil cannot be completed in a single moment. Recognize and remember who you will yet become. We share our spark with you. We will say your name with honor and know you as healing and as free. My beloveds, as we go forward into spring, please remember to dare greatly, to imagine the possibilities, and to always have hope through your faith in yourselves and in one another. Blessed be. And please enjoy this inspiring video, We Shall Be Known, and then stay online for some chat. I love you.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead